Hey, thanks for joining me on another Coffee with Waymark. Today we're going to talk about something that's right around the corner. Today it is June 9th, and in just under a month, the new concept, which had never been around prior to this, the Trump account, comes into play. So on July 4th, 2026, you will be able to make up to a $5,000 contribution with after-tax money to grow tax deferred for a child between age 0 and age 18. So we'll talk a little bit about who can open it, how it all works, and what we know to this point. Because in the infinite wisdom of the government, they announced it a year ago, but they gave themselves a full year to actually figure out the logistics of it. And it's still lots of question marks, even with less than a month to go. But I'll tell you what we know at this point, but just know that this is all subject to change. So what is a Trump account? So I mentioned it earlier. Think of it almost like an IRA for children. Now, why don't we just use an IRA? That's question number one. And the answer is, in order for you to make a contribution to an IRA, you have to have earned income, and most 2, 3, 4, 5, even 14-year-olds don't have any earned income, and therefore they can't contribute to a traditional IRA. So this is an incentive or a vehicle that the government put in place so that younger people can take advantage of it. So another thing that people ask is, well, how does this compare to a 529 account? So as you may or may not know, the 529 account is actually an education account. So you put after-tax money in, very similar to a Trump account. It grows, but if it's used for education, not only is the contribution you put in, but also the growth on that contribution is all tax-free, as long as it's used for qualified education expenses. The Trump account, on the other hand, yes, it does allow you to make contributions for education, but it can be used in some wider options. And that's one of the big benefits of this, is that it's not just an education account. It can be used for things like paying tuition, starting a business, unreimbursed medical expenses, and maybe even a down payment on the home. So ultimately, and again, this is subject to discussion, but ultimately we see this as an opportunity for parents to maybe have both a 529 account and now what's going to be known as a 530A account. So you have your 529 and then one clause after that, 530. 529, 530, 530A being the Trump account. So this was established last year. July 4th, 2025, by the One Big Beautiful Bill. And one of the things that I hear from a lot of folks is, oh, well, my child was not born but between 2025 and 2028, so I can't open it. Wrong. As long as the child has these qualifications: one, they're under the age of 18, two, they have a valid Social Security number, and three, they're a U.S. citizen. As long as they have all three of those things, they can open one. So for instance, for me, I'm actually going to open up one for my 14-year-old. Where the confusion is that the government, to incentivize people to start these Trump accounts, they've pretty much said that if you were born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, the government will put $1,000 in to seed the account or start the account. And then what happens with that money? And then in addition to the $1,000, you, the child's grandparents, even the child, could actually put up to a total of $5,000 into the account. So year one, you could technically put $6,000 into the account. And then in addition to that, two donors came forward, Michael Dell and also Ray Dalio, whose family foundations actually offered even additional money for folks that are recently born. So long story short, the Dell donation is given to children 10 or under and in zip codes where the median income is less than $150,000. Ray Dalio's contribution is specific to those with median incomes less than $150,000 who live in Connecticut. So long story short, there could be some free money available between the government, Michael Dell, and then Ray Dalio if you live in Connecticut. Moving forward in terms of what happens with this is you start the account, you put the money in, and then you have the option to invest it in a number of different exchange traded funds, or often known as funds that are widely diversified but typically low cost. And the government has specifically indicated that the maximum amount that an ETF or exchange traded fund can charge is 0.1%. So one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that just about every mutual fund, every exchange traded fund has an internal expense. And that internal expense can be anywhere between 0 and, gosh, I've seen up to 5%. But the majority of them, I would say, are somewhere between 0 and 1%. So 0.1% is definitely considered a low cost investment. In terms of what needs to happen moving forward with this, you need to start the account. You go here. And so I already logged in, but long story short, you have to sign in at IRS. You do have to come up with an ID.me in order to do it. And then once you're in there, you can actually sign up for it. So what I'm planning on doing right now as we go through this is to actually show you what it looks like. So it's trumpaccounts.gov, Trump accounts with an S.gov. And you can see a lot of information on it, trying to sell the program, obviously, so on and so forth. But the big thing here is right here, is that you could either download the app and send it to the U.S. Treasury or fill out Form 4547, new form, that can actually be completed online, but you do need to have an IRS.gov account online. So that's pretty much what it all boils down to. In terms of Waymark and what we'll be doing with the Trump accounts, LPL is still parsing through the rules. So it probably will be something that LPL does offer after they do their due diligence on it. And then from there, we'll be able to open up that account on your behalf, very similar to the way that we open up IRAs and SEP IRAs and Roth IRAs. It'll just be a different label on it, and we'll hopefully be able to walk you through it. So that's just a little primer on Trump accounts, and that you can actually take some action today, again, June 9th of 2025, even though you can't make contributions until July 4th. Another thing that could happen and is scheduled to happen, but it probably might take a little bit of time for your employer to work out, is that, remember how I had said that the $5,000 that you put in is after-tax money? Well, similar to a flexible spending account or a health savings account, some employers are actually allowing you to make systematic deductions from your paycheck up to $2,500. And that money, like flexible spending money, will be tax-free, or that'll be a tax-deductible contribution. So if you just open up the Trump account with the $5,000, you don't get any kind of tax benefits. But if you fund it $2,500 with your own after-tax money, and your employer supports it and sponsors it, you may be able to do $2,500 of that money to be before tax, very similar to, again, the way the flexible spending accounts work. So that's all we know right now as of June 9th. Hopefully we'll find out more in the coming weeks, but we're here to support you. And if you do have any questions about anything that was discussed here, I will answer it to the best of my ability, and we'll see what we can do. I do like this idea, anything that allows you or allows people the ability to save early is a good thing. So I do support this as another initiative, and it also helps to address the concern that a lot of people have, which is, okay, I have a new baby or a new grandbaby, and I want to help them. You could put a ton of money into a 529, but what if they don't go to school? Or what if they are lucky and they get a full scholarship somewhere? You don't want to waste all that 529 money putting money into something like the Trump account will actually allow them to do a little bit more, like, as I said earlier, start a business, put a down payment on a house, so on and so forth. So as I said, that's all we know right now. So I'm going to end my comments right there. I hope you're doing well and do good.